As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
The Pacific Experience Podcast.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. You are with the Pac X Podcast. You are with us, and we are with you. It is just me this fine evening. Here we are in March, and February was quite the month. Yes, it was. I apologize. This is the longest we've gone without an episode, actually. I ended up getting the flu, feeling better now. We had a lot of snow up here in the Great Pacific Northwest, which limited travel for me, and just, really busy with life going on. Aren't we all? Power went out. It was good. It was good. Definitely enjoyed, some of the moments where we had to shut down from life, shut down from technology and just be with each other. I'm kind of that guy that over prepares, but yet when it's time to actually be prepared, I don't have everything. The guy that packs way too much but doesn't bring gloves when it's cold. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. As you know, on the last episode, Austin moved and got a different job, so I tip my hat to him. We definitely miss him, but he will not be here for this episode. Hopefully we'll have him here soon. I want to apologize to the fans out there. I know it's taken quite some time for an episode to go up, but as like I was saying, life happens. But here I am, and here you are, and we're rocking and we're rolling. Some stuff I'd like to talk about. Very curious to see what you out there think in regards to the point of life. When one becomes curious to the point of living, they are forced to make a choice. You are forced to choose that either this is all on purpose, and there's a point. There's a point to living and dying. That life is like a hiccup. You're there and you're not. It's like a candle. It burns, then it doesn't. It's like a heartbeat. It beats, then it doesn't, then it beats, then it doesn't, then it beats, then it doesn't. Or that it's like an ocean wave. It crashes against the shore, then it's gone. And then it's back, and then it's gone. Or a red light. In fact, this pattern of there and not is everywhere in this universe. Everywhere. In fact, it's almost what nearly defines our reality. Tension and release is one of the most beautiful patterns to a human being. We crave it, whether we realize it or not. We crave it in music. We crave it in movies. We crave it in love, with food. That's why there's an intro and a climax and a fall and a resolution in movies. That's why there's a chorus and a verse in music. It's just the simple pattern of life. This is also the reason why a baby that is a newborn, an infant, finds it comforting to listen to the heartbeat of their mother. In fact, they make little stuffed animals that are just make the sound of a heartbeat. Now, when you look in the grand scheme of things, that's what life is. We're here and then we're not. Now, you can think that either there's a purpose. I wouldn't necessarily say a purpose, but I guess, yeah, a purpose. There's a reason behind all of this. Or, if that option does not fit in with your belief or what you've been taught from the environment that you were created in, then you must think that this was all an accident. That you are a mistake. that you are the result of an accident among the cosmos. And then in that case, is it worth it? Is it worth chasing the flame, the candle? Is it worth it? Is it worth playing the game? As Alan Watts once said, it is worth it to all of you, because if it wasn't, you would just kill yourself. What's the point? A lot of us are, at least myself, am fascinated with the point of life. And if you're still listening, you are too. Because those who do not become curious, at some point in time in your life, you do question, why am I here? How was I made? And if you want to move on and not ponder this, that means one of two things. Well, it actually means these two. It means that either you think you found out the reason, therefore why bother? Or you're uncomfortable with the fact that you do not know, and you do not want to bother. Just like seeing a dark cave. You're uncomfortable with what could be in there, so why bother? Who cares? There's probably nothing in that cave anyways. Or you see the cave, and you decide to go in it, knowing that you may not like what you find. Myself, I have personally been fascinated with truth. Well, what is truth? I get by in life. I play the game. I pay bills. I pay taxes. I have children. I live in a nice home. I have opinions. I have social media. I have a religion. I have payments. I have debt. And I play the game. I continue to play the game because I don't have a choice. Neither do you. So we subconsciously, we play this game. But in turn of playing this game, we become hypnotized. You have to play it. You have to become hypnotized. And when you become hypnotized, when you play the game, you become foreign to senses and abilities that do not exist within inside the body, the vessel that the soul is in. Another quote by Alan Watts. We feel we have been hypnotized, literally hypnotized, by social convention into feeling and sensing that we exist only inside our skins. And ain't that true? That's so true. That we only exist within our skins. But you see, everything in this universe is vibrations. And what happens is that your body, your physical body, decodes these vibrations through senses like smell and sight, audio, hearing, touching, tasting. And that's why if you were sitting right next to me, I could tell you quickly that there is a pin in between my fingers, and I can pretend to poke you quickly. You may say, ow, because you decoded that you were being poked, but when I show you there was nothing there, your brain decodes that you weren't poked. Now, if you can realize that you don't have to be limited by the senses within your body, the world is a much more colorful place. But in order to survive in this social construct that we have not created, that we've been born into, all of us, then you aren't in tune with these other senses. And I believe that these other senses are important. Why? At least they're important for me, because I am curious to the point of life. And if you're not curious, well then you've got it figured out then. Or you do not want to know. Now I can get by in life, I can do what it is that I do. Like I say, I can pay my taxes, I can work my job, I can play the game. But that does not mean that I am not curious to the point, that I will never stop questioning it, that I will never stop diving into it to find out why and how and what are we doing here. And the reason why I question this is only because I don't know if I like what's going on. I see a lot of pain and suffering. And what I mean by that is not necessarily to a dramatic extent of torture and cries for help. Of course that exists within the world, but I live in the American culture. As you know, up here in the great Pacific Northwest in the upper left. But regardless, I see a lot of negativity. And I see it hurt people. And I think to myself, this must not be life. I don't see people as a society in harmony with themselves. And that doesn't mean you sit crisscross and put your pointing finger and your thumb together and look like a mini Buddha and sit there and meditate. It just means that once you realize that you are asleep, aka hypnotized, that you're playing the game. And if you can consent to playing the game for survival, you don't really have a choice. Then from there, the opportunity to explore is endless in regards to your happiness. I have chosen not to define my happiness upon my job, the title I carry in life, my credit score, my bank account, because those were all created for me. I did not have a choice when I was born into this world to choose to play this game or not. I was born into it, and the game I must play. If not, then why don't you just jump off a bridge? Because what's the point of playing? Well, I'm okay with that. But I don't like the game that is being played. By everyone. And I don't blame anyone. Thus, you are only trying to survive in it. If you are playing it viciously, if you choose to grade someone for their opinion or argue them because it doesn't fit in with yours, that's okay. It shouldn't happen the way it's happening, though, and I know I'm not the only one that says this. You may work your job, you may feel confident in yourself because you get your dose of nature and you're healthy and you spend family time together and you enjoy music. But when I was a kid, one of the biggest questions I ever had was in regards to aliens, extraterrestrial life. Because if that existed, then that means that just means a lot. My question was that as a child, if there are other living entities or beings in this physical third dimension world, at least, my question is, do they enjoy music? And what does it sound like? Do they make a joke? Can they laugh? And where does that come from? Why does the soul enjoy it so much? Well, through this pondering of this fascination throughout most of my life, what I've come to realize through the research, not just my YouTube videos and Googling, but research through observation, and through self-reflection is that when we laugh and when we listen to music, scientifically they say we're releasing endorphins. Well, what is that? Why? Why does that happen? And I believe the answer is love. That is when we are at our most powerful, is when we love. Because a human being can do anything they want if they love it, if they love the idea. And I mean true love. The idea of being an athlete or a performer or finding or getting the commitment from a woman or a man that you love, or the color of your car that you would like to have. Now, you can't just love the idea and think of it. Now, the passion and the result of love will lead to steps that will help you obtain that. The energy we put into the universe will be the same energy that we receive. Because we create our own reality by decoding it. Now, if we want to achieve something special in life, we will put the energy into the universe. And in the example I've used, if I want a Corvette, I can't just put energy into the universe and think about it, and boom, there comes a Corvette. Of course, that's ridiculous. Life doesn't work that way. But if I truly want it and I love, like I said earlier, true love, I love the idea of having it so much, and I put that energy into the universe, the energy will guide me in the proper steps to be taken to achieve what it is that I want. It will give me the strength that I need to overcome the objections that are given to me by life, by social construct, financially speaking that is, to emotionally overcome that, to know the right decisions to make, to know when to have more of something or less of something. It's fascinating to me. I've been fascinated with this idea my whole life. Ever since I was a child. You can almost predict your future by choosing the type of energy you put in. But a very, very, very important key component to this method of obtaining what you want in life is being adaptable. It is being open-minded, because you haven't created this world that you were born into. You certainly did not have a choice about being born or not. You're here. And so you must do with the environment that has been presented to you. A very key ingredient to that is being adaptable to the environment presented to you. And an analogy is perhaps military or Navy SEALs. They become so fine at adapting that you can put a blindfold on them, separate them, drop them off, whether you're dropping them off in the desert, the jungle, the ocean, or the mountains, and they will find each other because of their adaptability skills, regardless of the environment or conditions that they are presented with weapons or without, with fire or without. And that is a very important key aspect to life, to achieving what you want, is put the energy of what you want into the universe, and it will in return guide you in the steps to adaptability in overcoming the objections and choosing the right direction to achieve what you want. You must do with the situation that's been presented to you. As I was getting older and I became an older child, a young teenager, I said to myself that the human mind is a blank canvas waiting to be painted by the different artists within the environment they are in. My artist is unknown. And this was a quote that I gave myself a long time ago. And what I mean by that is, just exactly how it sounds. Your mind is a blank piece of paper. And upon life, some of you, we are given different sets of coloring utensils, different sizes, shapes, colors, different types of utensils, whether it be a marker or a crayon or a colored pencil. And what you create on this blank piece of paper, aka your mind. Now, the artist that creates what is on this blank piece of paper is not you. You are the paper. You're here and then you're not. And they create what's on the blank canvas. By they, your environment, whether it be by nature or socially speaking, that creates who you are. Now, if you're really open-minded, you can step out of that and look at it in a third-person view and watch the artist paint on your blank canvas, on your blank sheet of paper. Now, the ultimate question is from there, do you have the power to wield the art utensils? Can you create it? Can you control it? Ah, yes, you can, but you see, the picture you're going to create, you must create on top of a picture that has already been created. You don't get a blank canvas. You don't get to come out of the womb saying that I want to be this shape and size and I want to do this with my life. You don't know what it is. You don't know what life is. I mean, imagine trying to explain options of college and taxes to a 3-year-old. You can't do it. You can't. Imagine trying to explain electricity to someone from 500 years ago. Imagine trying to explain the internet to someone 100 years ago. The internet and electricity are becoming the same thing. It is everywhere, yet it is nowhere. You don't see the internet. You see the result from it. You don't see electricity. You see the result from it. I suppose we can see lightning. I suppose you can see a spark. But again, that is a result. And so just like the internet and electricity, how you cannot see it, yet it exists, is the same thing as the abilities that you have outside of your senses of the human body that you cannot see, but that you can manipulate. But we've been domesticated to our abilities to manipulate that. All of us. I am sitting here talking about it now, just as domesticated from it as you are. But my curiosity has led me to dive down that rabbit hole and discuss it openly with you fine folks listening. And so I'm extremely curious to figure it out. I'm fascinated. There is obviously so much that life has to offer. Good food, good music, sex, entertainment, beautiful nature, beautiful things to see, wonderful things to hear and taste. The enjoyment of jumping in a pool, the enjoyment of chugging cold water after going on a long, hot run. But you see, most of this is soothing to the physical body. But when it's soothing to something beyond the physical body, perhaps music, what is that? Why do we enjoy it? Why do you need it? Why do you crave it? If that is as important as it is, then why do we not give it to ourselves more? And what I mean by that is, why is society the way that it is? I don't have an answer, and if you're listening because you think I have the answer, I do not. But I'm ready to be adaptable to find out. But, of course, the beautiful catch-22 to that is, I believe that some folk out there do find out. And that's when they just kill themselves, because they realize that what is the point of playing the game? What is the point of chasing the candle? You're here and then you're not. If you're going to return to the same place that you originally came from, which none of us know what it is, then why not just go home? Oh, but there's rules, but it says not to kill yourself, and it says this in the Bible and this in the Quran, and all the other religions say this. If I'm so bold to speak about religion, I myself am very religious. I am. But I know that everything that I've been told and taught is only what I've been told. I know that the true answers, which is what people seek, obviously, when they crave religion for comfort or for whatever reasons, the true answers are not going to be in a book, or in a standing in a group, or it's not going to be on this podcast. It's within yourself. And these books and music and structures and gatherings of people are there to help you adapt into finding the reason, into finding the purpose. Do you have what it takes? Are you curious enough? Or do you want to just be asleep and numb out and play the game? Because there is so much out there that you can wield if you do truly open your mind. That brings us up to the 27-minute mark already. We're going to take a quick break, and I will be back with you after this. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can check us out at thepackxpodcast.com. There's no the, it's just packxpodcast.com. Also check us out on Instagram, which is packxpod. I am so ecstatic for all of you to be tuning in. This is episode 35, and I'll be back with you after the break. And we are back. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Pack X Podcast. I am your host, Lloyd. Episode 35. You are with us, and we are with you, even though it's just me on this fine evening. It is March. I'm recording this March 4th. You can check us out at packxpodcast.com, at Instagram at packxpod, and we are back and we're kicking it. Keep saying we, but looking over here to my side, and there is no Austin, just me this episode. But I'm very thankful because the podcast itself has been doing fantastic. Tons of feed hits, downloads. So appreciate your love. Keep it coming, please. Go and give us a thumbs up, give us a rating on Facebook, give us a review, and pass us along off to your friends. That's the best way that we can grow, and that will give me the resources that I need to, give you better content. But we are alive, we're kicking, we're rolling forward. Speaking of being alive, that's what we've been talking about. What I've been talking about with you folks here on this episode is the point of being alive. And towards the end there, I started speaking, before the break about, nearly the purpose that religions give us towards, the point of life. But something which is really crazy to think about is that when I see people who who claim that they do follow a certain religion, that's what they identify by it, I question them, because, if we were to be really following these beliefs that tell us the way that it is, we would be acting a lot different. And so the question is are we bullshitting ourselves by saying that we believe in religion A, religion B, or religion C? By saying that we believe it, but actually not? Or do we really believe it and we're just playing the game of survival, chasing the candle? I don't know. But I'll tell you this, is that a lot of the teachings that it says here does not, for most religions, does not coincide with the society that we have created. Now, mind you, those of you listening and anyone who's breathing right now knows that we didn't create this society, we were born into it. And we created it. We made a sculpture from what we were given, which is where we're at today. And so, I would like to ultimately point out what I believe is the, again, ultimate evil that does separate the soul from the body, that does bring us far away from being in harmony with ourselves. And to me, that is the thought of currency. I mean, what is it? We look at the world and people are dying and people are starving and there's poverty. But the ultimate question to all of it is always, why people starve is, well, they have no money. There is no money. That's always the question. Where will the money come from? Who will do the work for the money? And this is something else I've learned from Mr. Alan Watts. We question ourselves and we say, where will the money come from to pay for this, to pay for that? Thus, the world is in poverty. Strictly because of money. Not because of a lack of food. Not because even a lack of cooperation. But simply law. And where will the money come from? Yet, we don't seem to realize that we created money. And people then will tell me that, well, money is there because it's going to balance out the good and the bad in the world. I will say that you're right. Because the bad seem to have all the money and the good don't. It seems like to me that money is there to empower the criminals who run the world. And I'm not necessarily talking about that top 1% dark, deep state shit that we all know about. But even your common criminal who will break into a car and thieve something from you. It is a big, fascinating question of mine. Why does money exist, and why do we let it destroy everything we have and create the negative and terrible things of this beautiful world we're in? Well, we created money. We created the objection that prevents us from living life equally and to the fullest. And please, if you have an answer, tell me. Reach out. Let me know. There's plenty of you out there who do care to inform me and entertain my thoughts with this. So please don't hesitate. Reach out, because I still have not found a justifiable reason as to why money exists. Oh, it's a form of trade of that displays value of items that are being traded. That's the idea it started with. It must have. And I don't have an answer. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how the world should be without money. I don't know. I'm domesticated from the idea. I am so far from knowing, from accepting that as a reality that I can't. I can only imagine. And imagining can be very difficult. So, that is just it. We're here and then we're not. You chase the candle, you live, and then you don't. But when you are living, at least in this time frame, we are not in tune with the nature around us. We are not in tune with what life should be about, which I'll tell you this, I don't know what life should be about. I don't know the point. I don't know the purpose. But I can tell you this, that none of you do. What? Be good to your neighbor. Be healthy. Have kids. Live a life. Look, that's what you want. That's what I want. Are you achieving that? And like I've said before, ask yourself, if you were told that you wouldn't get paid $1 for going to your job, would you still go? If the answer is no, then you're not doing what you want. Well, I want to sit at home and eat Cheetos and play video games all day. And all that costs money. And that's why money exists, because someone needs to get paid in order to do work. I mean, think about it. If you had a village, if you had a society, small village, shoot, even a large village, and where everyone contributed with a certain skill that they possessed, and not a skill, something they enjoyed doing, because skill really comes from something that you enjoy. I enjoy playing guitar, therefore I'm skillful at it. Someone who enjoys football can become skillful at it. We become skillful either to survive or because we enjoy it. And you look at a society, and if there was a ton of horse manure in the middle of a village, but currency didn't exist, do you think no one would shovel it? No one would pick it up? I'm not doing it. I need to get something for that. I should receive money. Or in this instance where money doesn't exist, the villager would say, I should receive food, more food than you over there who's not going to shovel it. But the person who isn't shoveling it says, yes, but I go and I pick the crops. Yeah, but you receive your benefit from picking the crops by receiving food from that. I mean, think about it, folks, really. If the money is there to make society flow, then why is it the only objection to anything that is terrible or detrimental in life? When we created our own objection. Money is not a storm that comes in and knocks down the village we've built. Yet we act like it is. We act like it's a part of nature that grows and that we have no control over it, but we must abide by it. We must play by the rules of it. We must be born into this world and adapt to the system of money. No, instead, we should be born into this world and adapt to what this world is in the sense of nature, in the sense of electricity, looking at an atom, looking at the protons. I don't think that money should fit into this equation of identifying everything through decoding and by vibrations. It's very puzzling to me, and it's troubling. So think that to yourself. Now, what are you going to do about it? I mean, that's ultimately what everyone wants to hear. A lot of people agree with what I'm saying. A lot of people are educated in what I'm saying. A lot of people are awake. And the question is, well, what do we do? Do we just wake up one morning and say, I'm not going to play by the system. I'm not going to play this game. I'm not going to play by the rules. Then why don't you just kill yourself? What do we do? How do we react to this? Well, I'll tell you, I don't have an answer. Because it seems like to me the world could be changed. This could all be changed in one day if just everyone didn't show up to work. Oh, but then we don't. Oh my goodness, we don't have policemen to put away to handle the crime. We don't have doctors to help us when we're sick. We don't have someone to shovel the poo. Yes, you're right, because we are domesticated from the ability to do that. Money has already won. And as an analogy I've used in this podcast before, an example of my dog is domesticated and does not know how to survive without me. If food is not put into the dish, the dog does not know how to get the food. And that's at the state that we are. Can the dog exist without food being put in the dish, without it being then put into the crate where the dog is locked up? Yes, the dog can survive without that. Does the dog know how to? Heck no. Because it was not born into that way of life. It was born into, I'm your master, here is your food dish, here is your water dish. It is bedtime, it is awake time, it is exercise time, and it's given the illusion of freedom. There is no better prison in this world than a prison that gives you the illusion that you're free, a prison without bars. I mean, isn't society already like that? Well, no, Lloyd, I'm free, I make my own decisions. Look, I am too. But what if you were born in a prison and you never knew there was an outside world and you thought that you were free because you had the choice of which cell to sleep in? You had the choice of what went on your dish when it came time for lunch. You had the choice of which job you got to choose when you wake up in the morning. Therefore, you're free. And I can choose to listen to the music that I want to listen to. I can choose to enjoy the art that I choose to look at. I can choose all of that, so I am free. Yes, you are free, but you are only free within the limits that have been provided to you. And what's the harm if I enjoy it then? Yes, I'm aware that I'm in the prison, and I'm aware of this, but I enjoy it, and I don't care for it. Well, then good for you. But the problem is that many people are starving, dying, and torturing each other with their words, and we are becoming domesticated from love. Something we cannot define. Something that, again, like a hiccup, we don't know where it comes from. It is absolutely fascinating to me that society has the illusion of freedom. And the best part about the whole grand scheme is that we don't blame anyone but ourselves. It's like the prisoners in this prison that I'm describing blame each other, the prisoners, for being in the prison. Again, just like you're not having a choice of being born into this life. Imagine someone being born in prison. They don't know why they're there. They wake up and realize there's an entire world out there and there's different ways of living, and that they are capable of doing so much more than waking up, going to their cell, eating their food, and going and doing their job all day, and listening to the music they listen to, and enjoying the art that they enjoy. There is so much more than that. But when they wake up and they realize that, whoa, there's a world out there and I don't like where I am at, who do they blame? They don't know who to blame. And the system has been designed so that way you blame your neighbor. You blame the prisoner next to you. You blame the one in the cell across from you. You blame the one upstairs in the nicer cell. Because, well, we created society that we live in, right? And why is it this way? It's because of people, because of bad people. We need policemen, and we need doctors. No shit, we need doctors. No shit, we need policemen. Yes, we need teachers. But the people who should be doing these jobs are the ones that would do it if they weren't paid $1 to do it. Those are the ones who should be doing it. You have people who should be policemen that are working at grocery stores. You have people that should be doctors, but instead are working in a restaurant. You have people that should be chefs, but instead they're doing construction. You have people who should be building houses, but instead they are fill in the blank. That's what society should be. Think right now of something that you would do without being paid $1 because you enjoy it so much. And if you can't think of something, I don't blame you. It's because you are domesticated. Anything. Think of anything that you would do where you're okay doing it, not getting paid $1. I can think of a couple things. I would play music. I'll do yard work to an extent, of course. I don't want to go crazy with it. I don't want to be commanded to do things I don't like to do, but I would like to be in nature. I would like to play music. I wouldn't mind doing art. I wouldn't mind doing this, talking and educating. I would like to be a teacher. I would do these things without being paid $1. Of course, with my own agenda, like anyone else. But I don't do any of those because they don't pay the $1. And that's why. I am living for survival, for my children. Society should be a lot different, but it's not. And the best thing that you can do is take the first step in the journey of enlightenment and waking up and realizing this. And don't, because if we all truly did what we say we believed, we wouldn't be out working trying to survive. We would be out on the streets screaming it off the top of our lungs. So instead, what should you do? If the whole world didn't comply for one day, we could fix this. If we spent the entire one day showing the systems and governments that we don't need them, it would work. Because everything ties back to money. Oh, but there's wars. There's there's evil. Yes, you see, but the ones that are evil are empowered by restricting those who are good, by limiting their abilities with money. And that is why we are limited. Well, folks, I thank you for tuning in. I want to remind you that if you are awake, you are enlightened. Don't limit yourself with YouTube videos and podcasts like this, because language, as Alan Watts has said, is linear. Nature is multidimensional. Language limits us. And if it can't be described, if there is no definition, then it doesn't exist, right? Right? If there is no definition, then it does not exist. Therefore, we are limiting anything that deserves a definition by our language. The best things that will unlock the secrets to life are not defined and cannot be defined. You must discover it and define it yourself with the way that you decode it due to your vibrations that you receive. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Pack X Podcast. I am Lloyd. This is episode 35. I'm glad to be back. Lots of stuff coming here in the future. It's going to be a while. Got some of the good stuff coming here late April. Some stuff scheduled. I'm very excited for it. I'm excited to learn. I'm excited to laugh and have a good time. This was more of one of those serious episodes. But if you're listening to episode 35, then you've probably been listening to the last 10 episodes or so. So you know the way that we like to roll. So please stay tuned. Reach out to me. Check us out at Facebook, Instagram, all the above. You can email me at Pacific Experience. That's experience without the E in the beginning. PacificXperience@gmail.com. Let me know what you think. Give me feedback. Give me the likes, thumbs up, downloads. I much appreciate it. It just makes this worth it. But regardless, even if there's only 4 of you numbnuts out there listening, I appreciate you very much. So, we're gonna take this off. I'm ecstatic to be with you on episode 36. And all of you, stay vigilant, stay humble, remain kind, stay open-minded. Don't miss the sunsets.